Well, it's spring and the seedlings are getting nice and tall. They're outgrowing their little seed starting tray, so we're going to up pot them today. Come along. If you're into seed starting, you'll end up with something like this in your tray. These plants are getting too big for these little cells, so the next step is to pot them up and put them in a little bit larger container and select the ones that are doing well and discard and compost the ones that aren't doing so well. If you're like me, if you have a lack of space under your grow lights, you've got to thin them. If you're not like me and you've got tons of space or a greenhouse, you can pot every single one of these up and have a ton of pepper plants. These are my peppers for the year. 2022 pepper crop is underway. Let's pot them up. I'm going to be using some styrofoam cups. Now, some people are going to balk and say you shouldn't use styrofoam. You know, come on, styrofoam's out there. Someone's going to use it. It's going to end up in a landfill. If I can use it for a few years and be responsible with it, that's what I'm going to do. I like them because they're cheap. You can punch holes in the bottom just like that. I just take my pencil and drive them down through 5 or 6 cups at a time. Get these nice holes. That's going to allow us to water from below. Sometimes you want to go and give some little depressions there, make the rim uneven, so if you water from the bottom, this ring here is not going to form a seal. I'm going to be putting them in this tray. It's a flat bottom tray, but I've never had any trouble with watering from the bottom. So I'm going to fill these with potting mix. I'm using this Glacier Gold Professional Growers Blend. This is sent to me from OrchidSupplyStore.com, and I'm really starting to like this stuff. It's a really, really powerful, rich potting mix, and yeah, man, I like it. It's nice and black and dark. It's got some perlite in there. It's got some compost in there. It smells good, nice and rich. You can smell the loaminess in that. That's a good potting mix. What you want in a potting mix is something well draining, something that has a little bit of compost in it, and something that's going to feed your plants for a while. So they're going to be in these small cups. They don't need a ton of nutrition, because after this cup they get planted into the garden or into the pot they're going to live in. But they do need some nutrition. That's why you need a potting mix. We started our seedlings in these trays in seed starting mix. Seed starting mix is nothing but basically peat moss and perlite, or something similar. And they don't need a lot of nutrition because the first leaves that come out on the seedling are the cotyledons, and that has, like an egg yolk, it has all the nutrition the little baby plant needs. Now you see we've got sets of true leaves coming on. These plants need some nutrition now. So we're going to pot them up into the cups with nutrition. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that, and I'm going to select some of the stronger peppers here, and the rest of them, well, in my context, I don't have enough room under my grow lights to grow up all these peppers. The rest of these will just go to compost, and we'll use them in that way. So let's get going. My first set of peppers I have here are Ninja bell peppers, so I'm going to pop one out. This one has 2 seeds in it. Look at the root system. That's perfect for potting on or potting up. I'm going to pinch one out because I only need 1 plant, and I'm going to make a hole there in my mixture and just drop this guy in there, press it down. Now I could probably fill this one with a little more soil, so that's what we'll do. There we go. Don't forget, write your plant name on the side of your cup. Ninja bell. I only need a couple of bell pepper plants this year, three of each variety or so, and yeah, well, there's my first one. Place it right there. Let's do another. But you see how they come out as a plug? That's because we packed down our seed starting mix into these cells when we started our seeds, when we filled our tray. All right, so here I'll make just a hole with my finger, and I'll drop my plug into there, push it down a bit, and then just lightly top off with some more soil. That's as simple as it is. What you want to do is select your most healthy plants. These Ninja bell peppers They're all looking pretty good. I think that's got enough roots we can plant that one. Let's try. So I'm going to take and make a hole and just drop that root ball right in there and kind of shove it in just like that. And we'll top it off with a little soil. Alright, we're going to move on to another variety until I need to fill out dead space. I've got another bell pepper. I've got a flavor burst bell. We're going to put several of those in here as well. Alright, those are my ninja bells. Here are my flavor bursts. I'm going to begin with the strongest plants I can find. This is one of them. There we go. Nice root ball. I got the whole plug out. So it helps if you fill your cups before you press the record button, huh? Drop it right down in there. Top it off with a little. There we go. Bell pepper. Keep going. This process of potting up allows you to select plants that are the most healthy and strong out of your seed starting tray. And what that does is, well, it makes sure that you're not just stuck with what you got. You can select. That's the beauty of gardening. Selecting is just part of the process. It seems cruel, but that's the reality of life. It might even seem wasteful, but there's no waste going on here because all these plants that are not selected still get to serve us in the garden by becoming compost. And that's not wasteful at all. I've had some people tell me, hey, you're wasting stuff when you throw food in the compost. No, we're not wasting. We're making good use of it. We're taking our excess and putting it to work for us. So I don't want to hear a bunch of comments about how wasteful we're being. We're not being wasteful at all. We're making great use of all of our resources here. That if they grow for us in the garden and give us fruit, wonderful. If they get sent to the compost pile, that's okay too. It's wonderful. That's just extra goodness for the compost. We'll eat them again. We'll eat them in our future crops. I really like this Glacier Gold Growers Blend that I got from Orchid Supply Store. It is expensive stuff. They're trying to see if they can find a market for this, but it's supposed to be the best stuff you can get, and therefore it's not cheap. So I'm going to try it and give my honest review of this stuff. Let me see if I can find a good one here. There we go. I've got a nice one here. Look at that root system. That's what you want to see. Any more than that and you're probably a little behind on your up potting. I'm going to pull the second plant out, and there we go. That's our bell pepper plant. We're going to deepen this hole a little bit. Drop that plug in there and shove it down. It's got enough soil in it. There we go. Flavor burst bell pepper. These cayennes, man, this red flame cayenne, I grew this last year. It's a F1 hybrid. It gives you cayenne peppers about 5 inches long. Great, man. I love this plant. I got to grow a few more. All I really need is 2 plants. I'm going to grow 4 or 5 in these pots so I can give some away. All right, let's get these guys potted up too. Got some beautiful plants here. Look at this guy. Oh, come on now. Don't bust up that root system. There we go. Look at that. That's nice. That's a good plant. All right, we'll put this guy right in here. Drop him down into a hole. Shove it in. Top it off with a little soil. And there we go. Red Flame Cayenne, one of my favorites. Some good looking plants. Good looking plants. Like I said, I only need a couple of these, but I've got room to put 5 or 6 of them in my tray to grow up a little more. The rest of them, like I said, go to compost, but I can give these away to my son. They're going to be gardening in earnest this year. I can give them away to my church family. My church family really seems to appreciate when I bring stuff up to church, and we have our church is called Cornerstone, And we have what I like to call the cornerstone farmer's market every now and then. All right, that's all the cayenne peppers I need. Unfortunately, for these fellas, they all get to go to compost. They get to be eaten in our future crops. So we'll just pluck them out, set them aside along with all of this potting soil. We'll just dump this right into the compost pile. Again, if I had the room under my lights, I would grow these to fruition, but do not think this is waste. This is definitely, most definitely not waste. Compost is not waste. One of the more useful peppers that I grow is the poblano pepper. These two rows right here are poblanos, and they're looking pretty good, so I'm going to select a few of these out. And we're going to grow some poblano peppers. I want to have 2, maybe 3 of these in my garden this year. You can see how these look. Nice root system. Just put them down in here in the soil. See if we can drop them in just like that. There we go. Fill around it with a little bit of soil. Press it down. Put it in the tray. Making some good time here. Not about the speed though. I just really enjoy this process of looking at the root system and seeing what we've grown. This was a seed. We sowed the seed not too long ago. They came up really quick. I had a heat mat on them. And they'll be going out in the garden in the next 3 weeks or so. Got to harden them off to the sunlight. That's a process I'll show you. But yeah, look at that, man. These are some healthy plants. That's nice. Poblanos. You got to have poblano. Now, a poblano pepper is called an ancho pepper at points in its history. A poblano pepper is what you get off the plant. If you let that poblano go red and you dry it in the sun, all of a sudden it becomes an ancho pepper. Both have wonderful uses in the Mexican kitchen, and we use them. I like to use them on hamburgers. I like to use them in all kinds of recipes, fajitas. There we go, poblano. All right, got to fit these cups in my tray here. Now, the video that launched my YouTube channel, the one that made my YouTube channel really take off and convinced me that I could make something of my channel, was a pruning peppers video way back in, I think it was 2018. That was, man, I look at that video today now, and wow, that was pretty abysmally made video. But the information in it is still pretty good. The problem with that video is that I have since learned that, yes, indeed, pruning a pepper plant and topping it basically is what you're doing. Does make the plant bush out more, but if you're growing a very, very large pepper, like a poblano here, then what you're doing is making more peppers, but what you'll likely notice is that many of them will be of a smaller size. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes with topping pepper plants. And I mentioned that in my second pruning peppers video, which hasn't done quite as well. Obviously, the algorithm picked up the first one, and since it has over 2 million views, the algorithm continues to promote that particular one. But pruning peppers, yeah, it's a good practice, especially for smaller little chilies like Tabasco peppers, cayenne peppers. If you want that plant to bush out and produce a whole lot of fruit for you, then what you would do is top that pepper plant. You'd top it at the, you'd leave about 6 to 8 true leaves on it, and anything beyond that you would lop it off, and that'll force out growth. All right, we've got our poblanos planted now. Awesome. Our final set of peppers are these jalapenos. These are called Jedi. They are an F1 hybrid from Johnny's Seeds. They performed very well for me last year. They gave me some, you know, pretty good sized jalapeno peppers. And so I'm going to plant these again. Once again, I want to show you with these little cheap cells from Jiffy, you just kind of squeeze them a bit and you can pull them out. And I'm going to pull by the one I'm going to thin. There's 2 plants in here. I'm going to thin this one out. So that's the one I pulled from just in case I broke some roots. And that's what we got. one jalapeno plant, one jalapeno can keep you in peppers for quite a while. They produce prolifically, and they're easy to grow. All of our leftover leaves and plants and soil go into the compost bin. There we go. We'll wash this out, be ready for starting seeds next year, put it in storage. And yeah, that was an efficient way to grow a lot of plants, to be able to select the best ones like that. We have a whole big tray now that I can put under my lights of our pepper plants for 2022. Out of this are all my peppers that are going to my garden. This is it. Well, actually it's not it. I have some other peppers I started the other day, and if they come up, they'll be part of the pepper collection too. But this is the bulk of what I'm growing this year in terms of peppers, and we're off to a good start. What we'll do then is when it comes time to plant these out, we'll select the 2 or 3 that I need that look the best out of the 5 or 6 that I've saved here. And so as we move on in gardening, we start our seeds, and then it's a selection process. We're culling, we're cutting down the population, and we're taking only the best, and we pot them up. Then when we take these and plant them out in the garden, we're doing the same thing all over again. We're culling down, we're taking the best, and we're planting them in our garden. And that's how we ensure we get big, healthy plants. Now, it seems brutal. It seems like it's something that, you know, it's a waste, but it's not. It's what gardeners do. It's what we do. It's called selection. And, you know, that's what happens in nature. The weaker animals, well, they die off. The weaker plants, they die off. And that's how you get your strong land races, your strong species that survive well in a given area. That's how you get your strong plants in your garden. Let's get these watered. You may have noticed when I planted these that the plugs were already nice and moist. Those plugs had a good amount of moisture in them already. So these are set. I'm going to let them dry off out here a little bit and take them back inside under the lights where they can bulk up and get strong. So what we'll do next is start to harden these off. I've got another close freeze coming at the middle of this week, and then after that I think we're in the clear for the rest of the year in terms of freezing weather. But it's still going to be a little bit cool at night. Peppers love heat. They thrive in the heat. So when we put these out, we should not expect a whole lot of vigorous growth right away until it really warms up. But we're off to a head start, and that's good. So there's our peppers. Hey, if you were a commenter on my channel, if you're a subscriber and you're a frequent commenter, you may have noticed that today, the day I'm making this video, you might have got some spam. It was a spam bot that was duping me. It was supposed to be me. It used my image, and it said, hey, click the number above and you've won a prize. Don't click that. Obviously that's not me. I don't offer prizes like that. We don't do that kind of spam stuff. It's pretty obvious if you look at it. If you're used to YouTube, it's pretty obvious what it was. It was a spam bot attack on my account. I'm trying to clean that up. All the accounts that posted all that spam have been blocked, and it takes up to 48 hours for YouTube to remove the comments of people you block. So hopefully I got them all. If not, YouTube will get them all. Sorry about that. Nothing you can do about evil people being annoying in the world. So hey, like us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook. Really appreciate you hanging out with me today, learning how to up pot pepper plants. We'll talk to you next time. Happy gardening. Bye-bye.